While everyone is putting money into mega cap tech stocks because SPY has been booming, I'm here to tell you that I'm actually doing the opposite. I'm actually putting my money into two crypto stocks that I believe that can outperform from where they're currently at. And I'm not talking about a 25, 30% ROI on the stock itself. I'm talking about a 50 to 100% ROI from where they're currently at. And before I share those two crypto stocks with you, I want to go over an announcement here that I posted on the school community forum. All right. So this is free if you want to get access to it, which I recommend. So you can get access to Gextron and get an invite code. There's going to be a link in the description for you to join this. It's completely free, and I post a lot of good information in here, especially about trading, stocks, and options. Okay, so the last invite batch was sent out today. Okay, I sent out the codes via school DM, and these codes will be reassigned if they are not used by today. So tomorrow, if I see unused codes, if there are people who want, if you want access and you haven't gotten one, put a comment here so you could be assigned the code if it's unused. If you did assign one and you check your school DM here, and the next thing is that I send you instructions with the invite code. Just set it up. It takes like less than 30 seconds, less than 20 seconds. And then you'll have access to the exact data, support resistance, entries, price targets, all that good stuff, unusual options that I use every single day to make money in the stock market. If you didn't get a code but want one because you haven't applied for one, drop a comment in this post right here because I'm going to use this post as a reference for the next batch of invites. All right. Now, I will be hosting a Gextron training call on Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern time on Zoom. Okay. I'm going to go over exactly how to know when to enter a trade, how to exit a trade, how to get stopped out of a trade. And it's going to make your life so much easier because all you have to do is just go into Gextron, which I'm going to show you here anyways again, and you're just going to see exactly what to mark on your chart, and then you know what to do. Like, you don't have to do any guesswork. Gextron does it all for you, which is awesome. Okay, now with that said, when you join this school community, just go to the calendar tab right here, and you'll be able to see the next training call. This is the school, but I don't like the live. Here, let me see if I could post a picture here. This is my go-to upload cover image for my calls. All right, so that's it, okay? 8 p.m., sign up to school so you can get access to this Zoom call that will be here, okay? Now, let's get into the stocks. Crypto stock number one, and it's my top number one for the top crypto stocks, okay, is BMNR. BMNR is showing signs of strength, not just on a daily run, okay? This is the most important part because these type of moves are not based off of like the next couple of days, the next couple of weeks. It can move really hard, but this is based off of a weekly perspective or even a monthly perspective, okay? You can see here, just from using basic market structure, right? I'm going to show you an example here using this tool. Like, this is just basically bullish, right? Yes, this is an intraday move right here, but ideally what we want to see is now just price go somewhere around here, around this area, right? To start making that next expansion to the upside. Now, what I like about BMNR is the projections, the price targets that Gextron has given me. This is the pro dashboard here. And there's a lot of calls coming in. You can see here there's $100 calls. These are out of the money, okay? $100 calls, but they are uh, a neutral sentiment. Gextron cannot pick up right here. When Gextron shows you a white text detail here, it's because the order got filled at a neutral sentiment, somewhere in between the ask and the bid. But nonetheless, the context is really, really important. Okay, so let's take a look at and see what the price targets look like by the end of the year. Okay, going into January 2026. You can see here that the price range, right? We're in September, October, November, January. It's $84. Okay. So it has about a 30-point move as of right now. Okay. That to me is a wonderful risk versus reward ratio from where we are currently at. So what am I going to do right now? I'm actually going to mark this live, and I want you to do the same thing on your chart. I'm just going to update the coordinate here, 84.77. excuse me, we have a whole quarter left. And from where we're currently at, because we've been in this for a while now, I think we got in somewhere around the $50 range. This is about a 68% return ROI, okay? And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to change the color of this into this. I'm going to label it EOY, end of the year target, okay? That's it. That is the target for the end of the year. Now, going into January of 2027, the move is even greater, above $100, okay? You can see here that the projections are just going to be high. Somewhere around January and February, it will stall out because you can see here that the moves are not as big as they were before, right? From 84 to only $4 for a whole monthly move, it's going to stall out there at some point. So I think an 84 target, end of the year target, seems like a reasonable area to probably sell some of the position there, and then just either hold on to the runners or half of the position, and then just kind of set a trailing stop loss, right? But in the grand scheme of things, if you want to hold for as long as possible, the future is looking promising for BMNR. Now, BMNR is something that is backed by also Tom Lee. He's a big Ethereum guy. BMNR is not even a Bitcoin thing. It moves based on Ethereum. And so, nonetheless, I don't know too much about like the whole background about that, but I'll tell you what, the Greeks, the option Greeks and implied volatility are looking really healthy on this. And what we care about is the risk versus reward ratio. Okay, you can see the market just closed 7 minutes ago. So it's up really, really healthy right here, right? So like I said, when it comes to risk versus reward, this is a great risk versus reward. I think a great stop loss would be, if we look at the price, the daily levels, 55 is actually max reward. So I'm actually going to update this just to let you know max reward here represents the biggest level of resistance. Okay, this is no longer an area of resistance. Let me see where P-trends is where bullishness begins. Like we are in an entire, we are inside green territory in Gastron in the daily levels. Just because when we're in green, it's bullishness, but there are resistance coming ahead, right? So the next level of resistance isn't until 51 and 50. So these areas still remain intact, but you can see here when resistance is low, right, which is any low bar, when resistance is low based on the tallness of a bar, price moves fairly fast through it, which is what we like to see in a stock. When price got above 51, this is a great risk versus reward ratio, right? If we use the projection tool here for a long position, and we're like, you just say, okay, if we lose 50, then I get out of the position. This becomes a 2.273. Now, this is not my favorite, but if you were to aim for the 55, you have a 3 risk versus reward ratio, which is the minimum that I recommend. Now, in the grand scheme of things, I like to aim for yearly targets when I'm quarterly targets, yearly targets when I'm doing stock. And that's exactly how we're trading this. The move for the end of the year is promising, right? If all I had to say is make the plan very simple. If we lose 50 because it's a level of resistance and it can drop all the way back down to 47, then I just get out of the trade. So if we lose 50, I'm out, period. But as long as we're above 50, I will aim for the end of the year target, making it about 84.77. And this makes it now a 25.81 risk versus reward ratio. This is a wonderful trade to be in. A lot of people are getting into mega cap stocks, and a lot of mega cap stocks are actually about flat. So you can see Google's flat, Meta is semi-bullish, so is Microsoft bullish, Tesla definitely bullish today, Amazon, Nvidia, which I don't have Nvidia in here, but it's kind of mixed signals, right? It's not super clear what mega caps want to do. So in my opinion, this has the biggest ROI. So this is my number one choice. Right underneath this one comes an SBED, another Ethereum crypto stock. Similar story, just a little bit of a lagger. Okay, I think BMNR, when it comes to picking qualities of a set, BMNR comes in number one place for this Ethereum crypto stock play. SBET comes right underneath, and we could take a look at the SBET trade as well too, see what levels look like. I haven't updated this in a while, but I'm pretty confident that it's looking pretty healthy. So 18 is the first positive bar. Now, 18 is P-trans level. P-trans is what we call inside our private Telegram group. This is where bullish sentiment begins, where it's called dominated. Okay, so we're just going to mark that level there, 18. So I'm going to move this line here and say 18. Make sure that you're doing this as well too, so you can have these levels ready to go. Okay, now I do have shares for this as well too, because it's like a sympathy play to the BMR trade, and then max reward is 20. Okay, so 20 is max reward here. And again, max reward, if you hear me say max reward, all that means is that it's the biggest level of resistance because it's the tallest positive bar, and price is going to be heading towards it if it does get there. Okay, now what's really important for me is figuring out the end of the year targets. A while ago, I did get into this trade and it didn't play out the way I imagined. I believed that this was going to be the bounce around this area back around $16, and it would have gone higher. Okay, that's why I really like this trade a lot more than BMNR back in the day. This was like back in probably like sometime in August. Now, it ended up taking a tumble. But nonetheless, I still believe that this trade can see somewhat similar results like this. Will it see higher highs in this weekly time frame? I'm not sure. But this is more going to be, again, another lengthy play, kind of like BMNR, anywhere from, I'm going to say, 3 to 6 months of potential move, right? But the end of the year is coming here soon, so I want to figure out what those levels are. And let's take a quick look at the. So yeah, so $55 calls are coming in. $30 calls aggressive here. Nothing significant, but these are a little bit higher. Price targets end of the year going into January. What is it? 25.61. Okay, so all I'm going to do is just update this line right here. And so the trade is really simple, right? It's like if it can get to 25.61, and if it can get above P-trans, that's the cue to get into the trade. Now, I'm a little bit early, and that's okay, but the trade still looks solid here for the end of the day. Okay, so your cue to get in is when it closes above 18 as of right now. Okay, and you would aim for the end of the year target, which you should mark right now. It's 25.61. Okay, the stop loss would be, let's just say, give yourself a little buffer here. Let's say you get in at 18.51. If it loses $18 by the end of the day, this gives you a 16.2 risk reward ratio, which again is another great trade, because at the end of the day, what you care about profitability is that you lose small. You don't want to care about if you win often or how often you win and lose. That doesn't matter. Win rate does not matter. What matters is how much money did you make when you won and how much money did you lose when you lost. Keep your losers small, your winners bigger, and that's how you get results like this, where it's a 70% year-to-date performance, outperforming the S&P 500. That is how you win in trading, okay? And so when I look at crypto stocks, especially like BMNR and SBED, it's always about risk versus reward. I don't want to get into a trade that doesn't have that risk versus reward ratio. The reason I like swing trading end of the year targets and quarterly targets is because the risk versus reward ratio is far superior than just 3. I don't have to win as much. I can win about 30% of the time and still come out profitable because my winners will always outpace the losers. And it's been the case all the time. So I get a lot of messages about people saying, hey, like, I'm tired of losing. I'm tired of not making money. Most of the time it's because you don't have a strategy that is set up for high risk versus reward ratio. And just because you have a high risk reward ratio does not mean that it's a high risk and high reward. It's actually low risk and higher reward. So a lot of times, especially for a couple weeks or so, or sometimes a month, my portfolio may look like this before it does the next leg up. And that's how it's been doing for the last, we're already in September, 8 months. That's exactly how it's been performing. And so that's what it is. That's every time I get into a trade, that's all I care about, risk versus reward. And that's what you should be caring about. And that's why these two crypto stocks is why you should care about. And you should consider getting in if it gets above 18 for SBED, for BMNR, it's still not too late. Just raise raise the stop loss a little bit more, right? Give yourself that edge. That it should be at least above 3 risk versus reward ratio. This is up to you to figure out like how much you're willing to lose on BMNR and SPA. But again, always a 3, a minimum. All right, that's it. The most important part again is like just try and catch the meat of the move at least. You don't have to be precise, but just the meat and the potatoes. All right. If you have any questions on these tickers, or if you want to get access to Gextron, drop a comment, join the community, and I will see you on the next one.